Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan, and my guest today is Tessa Terry. And Tessa is talking to us from South Carolina, and she has a super cool, very different business called Alchemy RV Renovations. And I cannot wait to talk about this. So, Tessa, how are you today? Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, I'm great. I'm so excited. I've been looking forward to this podcast for a while now. So thank you for having me.
Same Z's. So Alchemy RV Renovations. Tell us about that.
So what I do is I take travel trailers, campers, RVs, and I completely renovate them and turn them into luxury tiny homes that can still travel. So I've been doing this since 2021. I basically started this business on a whim. I have a home renovation background, but not with trailers. And I found this one online, the first one, found it online. For some reason, I went to go check it out and I just envisioned this space instantly. I totally renovated it in my head, not knowing if I could do it. I bought that on a whim. And 6 months later, I finished my first one and it sold within 24 hours. And I have just been diving headfirst ever since.
24 hours. Your first
Yes.
one. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, and so you have home renovation experience. So renovation, like tearing down walls or like,
Yeah. Yeah. All of it. So even growing up as a kid, my parents always bought fixer uppers. So I grew up around totally gutting houses. Like I've never lived in a house where we just bought it and it was move-in ready. We always did major renovation work. So I grew up with that. And then when I was 20 years old, my husband and I moved across country to South Carolina. I'm from Arkansas originally. And we moved here. And when I was 23, we bought my first house and we, same thing, gutted it. Yeah, everything's different. We added rooms, took out walls, you name it.
wow, that is
Yeah.
so cool. Because that was one of the questions that I had, like how did you get started in this? But you just grew up in it, so it's natural. Um,
Yeah.
that's cool. And so you're from Arkansas. Oh gosh, I had a question that came up. But now, so folks, I'm going to be posting some pictures. I asked Tessa to send me some pictures to share because if you look at her Instagram, holy moly, when she says luxury, she's not kidding. These are like luxurious for real RVs that you would think. We were talking about she was saying that she was just talking to somebody who was considering buying a $300,000 RV and they were not able to uh hook her up with the right cabinets that she wanted, and we were like $300,000 for an RV. I was like, man, that thing better be like laced with gold. And she was saying there should be a pool in the roof or something.
Yeah. A in-ground pool up top or something for that price.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Crazy.
crazy money. And so, she makes things happen, which is so cool because in my mind at least, I think of RVs and like fifth wheel trailers and stuff like that as being almost not disposable, but they depreciate really quickly because they the amount of weight would put a lot of make the engine work really hard. So whether it be the truck engine that's pulling or the RV engine that's pulling, so it just puts a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? It
It put,
puts a lot of strain.
yeah. Yeah. Strain for
Um
sure.
but so there's so people don't put a lot of money, a lot of effort into them. But then they just kind of look a little trashy. And
Yeah.
so Tessa makes these like gorgeous and especially she says she focuses mainly on like the fifth wheels, which is cool because you're going to be upgrading your truck anyway.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I just as a side note, I went into this business not being an RV person. I didn't like RVs. I would never buy one myself because the designs were all very brown and dark. And yeah, that's just not my thing.
They're like
You know,
grandmothery.
Right. Yeah, totally. And even the expensive ones, super expensive ones, they still have the same camper feel. And that's just not something I was interested in.
Mm.
So when I started this business, I had that in mind, to reach a group of people that might be like me, might not be interested typically in tiny living. Um, and now, yeah, I would love to stay in one of mine. I mean, they're beautiful when you walk in, and they truly feel like a home space.
Heck yeah. I would
Yeah.
totally. But so, and then, so this is sort of like saving these vehicles, these
Mhm.
are
Yeah,
vehicles.
you can call, well, I always use the word rigs because you can use rig in reference to the drivable RVs, fifth wheels, travel trailer. It's a rig.
Oh yeah. Rig is not a word that's usually in my vocabulary, but so
Yeah,
thank you.
it wasn't
Um,
in mine before either.
so she is saving these rigs from being trashed, which is very
Right.
cool because, when if you're buying a used RV or used fifth wheel trailer, like they're, really dumpy and like
Yeah.
wallpaper and, dirty. And
Yeah.
so, they would be sitting forever and ever and ever, or, maybe even like water damage or whatever. But
Right.
Tessa's gonna fix that bad boy up and you would never ever know it. And you would be psyched to stay in this. And so, on the sustainability note, it's like, it's giving it a new life and
For
extending
sure.
the life of
Yeah.
these rigs.
Yes. No, absolutely. When I'm finished with one, it is 100% in the same, if not better quality than getting one off the lot. This specifically the ones I buy, I make sure that the layout's really good, that they're really sound to begin with. But I replace everything, so no rig leaves my house without, like this one that I have coming up. I mean, replace the AC, of course, new tires. That's no question. I replace all that. The outside gets resealed. I wax everything. More than just the design part of it, I make sure they are up to par in like brand new condition. So it's truly reversing years off these,
Yeah.
off all of them.
Oh my gosh. For
Yeah,
real.
it's a lot of
S
work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, luckily you live in a warm place where you can like
Yeah, that
do
does
that
help
year
a lot.
round.
Right. I get a lot of people messaging me from Canada and they're like, how are you doing this in the winter? And I'm like, oh, well, here it's not that cold. So
I'm not in
it's
Canada, that's how.
yeah, exactly. Not Canada. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. And so you had said, one of the notes that you had said in your guest form was that just sort of off topic, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to mention this. But you had said, you can design your own life. There
Yeah.
are no failures if you're trying your best, and success is able to be created, which is so
Yeah.
cool. And so you totally did that. I mean, you grew up doing fixer uppers and with your parents, and you this is not something that really existed.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
in smaller ways, like I'm sure that there are people that do. I know that there are people that do like interior decorating and stuff like that, but like
Right. Yeah.
they're
Well,
not
and
they're not going to touch an RV.
yeah, yeah. Well, and there's renovators with RVs too. However, I guess what made me want to start something different was that a lot of these renovations were upgraded tremendously, but they still had a camper feel to
Mm,
them. And that's what I wanted to take out. When I design spaces, I design them more than just like, oh yeah, this color would look good with this color. I think, how does it make you feel when you walk into the space? You can get inspired by going out in nature because it makes you feel a certain way, in a room, in a wherever you're at. So that's what I try to do with these spaces. I try to create a home like feel when you walk in. So that I think puts me apart from a lot of the others doing this.
wow, that's beautiful. I mean, I really love that because it's really like it's trans transformational. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is that the word I'm
Yeah,
looking
and
for?
you have to take,
Transporting.
yeah, yeah, and you have to take chances. I mean, what you were saying about what I said about failing, I live by that. My parents actually own a Victorian lampshade company. So I grew up with them designing and making lampshades, and I worked with other designers. Even as a little kid, I saw their work, and that was just a big part of my life. But even with that business, I mean, you know, Victorian lampshades isn't like a thing you hear people do a lot. They've been doing that for 30 years. That was something I grew up learning, that you don't have to you can design your own life. You don't have to follow what society tells you to do. And you can't be afraid of failing. You got to try, you know, and it works out a lot of the times.
It's true. So true. You're very wise, young person.
Thank you. I try.
And so what kind of, I mean, obviously you grew up doing this type of thing with your parents and your family, but did you have any training? Did you go to school for like design or anything like that? Or this is just
Yeah, I get asked that a lot. No, I never went to college, or I never went to school for that. I am very educationally inclined. I graduated high school when I was 14 years old. So
what?
yeah, so school was really important to me. Learning is like a huge part of my life. But what I saw, I guess, as a young person, is I saw a bunch of people going in debt at college, partying a lot, not doing a lot of like learning. And I think college is great for certain, you know, things. You can't just wake up and know how to be a brain surgeon one day. Like, you know, college has its place.
Yeah.
For me, this has been who I am for my whole life. So when I was 4 years old, I remember walking into rooms and redesigning them in my head. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized not everyone does that. So that was just kind of who I was. And I feel like for me in particular, I grew up seeing my parents be extremely successful without schooling, doing their own thing. And yeah, that was never really a worry for me. I always figured that, you know, later on in life, if I wanted to go to college, I could. But yeah, no, I didn't do anything extra.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
You have a gift. 14?
I was 14. Yeah. I started high school. I did a private school, and I did it from home. So it's basically homeschooling, but it was like the curriculum was an actual school, and I was keeping up with a physical school. And so anyway, I started high school when I was 13, and I woke up every day at 6 a.m. and I would do school some nights till like 10 p.m. all day. My parents were like, you need to chill and like hang on a second. And I was like, no, I want to graduate. So yeah, I was just super focused, and I did all of high school.
You just binged high school in 1 year?
Yeah, I binged high school. Yeah. That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even
Yeah.
know that was possible. Holy. Wow.
Yeah.
And so you've been doing this since like, well, 14.
Well, okay, so I wanted to be a waitress when I was 14. Not so much because of being a waitress, but that was the only job that hired 14-year-olds. So I was
I was
like,
gonna
yeah,
say there are so many jobs that you can't even do at 14.
yeah, right. Like most places won't hire you. And where I was at in Arkansas, if you wanted to be a waitress at 14, the manager person had to sign something, a document, to be okay with hiring you. So everyone was kind of like, yeah, that's cool, but you probably won't, because, you know, someone have to sign, and don't count on it. It's fine. And I was like, no, I'm doing it. And so there was this tea room where I worked, and I called and I asked if they were hiring. And she said, yeah, you know, whatever. She asked how old I was, and she laughed and was like, no, thanks, bye. And I called back a couple days later, and I said, listen, can I please come in for a 5-minute interview? And you can say no, and I'll be all good, just 5 minutes. And she was like, okay, whatever. I came in, and it so happened that that day her waitress and cook both got sick, and she had a party of 17 people. She hired me on the spot. She cooked, and I was the only one running the entire restaurant at 14.
Oh my gosh.
And I worked there until the day that they closed down. So yeah, that's kind of who I was as a kid. I was very determined.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
very
I would love to see a picture of you at 14 years old.
I dressed older than I do now when I was like 14. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, but I was a very determined kid for sure.
I'm just trying to imagine a 14-year-old walking in and saying, I'll take care of this 17 top.
Yeah, yeah. And it was crazy. I got good money too, because she was so sweet. She actually paid me minimum wage as a waitress, which at the time was like what, $6 or something. But I got tips too. And so I was raking it in at 14, man, compared to most 14-year-olds.
Heck yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's
Yeah.
insane. Oh my gosh. You are you're such a surprise and I love it so much. And so you moved to, oh, your whole family moved from Arkansas to South Carolina.
Right. My parents actually moved here before we did. My mom knew someone from her high school years, and so that's how they found out about the area. But they moved here first, and then my husband and I got married super early. I was 19, and my husband and I moved when I was 20, and we had a 2-month-old at the time, and we drove across country and moved here, and just yeah, packed up and left. So uh, it was a big adventure for sure. Looking back at it, I wasn't as daunted as I feel like I would have been now, you know?
Right. Oh yeah, totally. I mean, when you're 20, there's no fear, right?
Yeah, there's no back problems. You wake up and everything's good and your life's perfect. Yeah, totally. So
100%.
it's a different
And
time.
now you're like, well, what if something happens?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, I'm glad we did though, because man, what a it took off a bunch of good things that happened after that. So
For
it was good.
sure. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. I mean, would this have all happened if you were still in Arkansas?
Oh, absolutely not. No. Yeah.
Wow. Gosh, Tessa, holy moly. And so you said your oldest is now 9, of
Hmm.
course. Um,
Yep.
and are your kids doing the whole, are they involved in, I mean, I know you said that this is all you, but
Yeah,
are
yeah,
they
yeah. So,
interested?
well, yeah. So my 9-year-old comes out with me often when I'm working, and he keeps me company and talks to me. And he is the most cutthroat designer critique person you'll ever see. Like he'll come in and tell me everything that's wrong, what needs to be added. He's like sweet about it, you know. But yeah, he definitely has opinions. So he helps me out there in that way. And then yeah, my 4-year-old, we homeschool both of them. So they're home all the time, and my husband is the one who handles homeschooling because that is a big job. So he does all that.
I was just going to ask, is your 9-year-old in high school yet?
Yeah, I no, not him. He wants to be though. He just found out actually that I graduated at 14 like a couple months ago, and he was like, "What? That's like an option?" And I was like, "Yeah, if you do good, you can get it done." And so now I think that's a goal.
Wow. 14. Oh my goodness. Man, if I could have done that. Um, and so I did not know that that was an option. That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so I got a little off topic, sorry.
No, you're good. I don't want to steer too off topic. I can talk all day. So
No, I love it. Oh gosh. So have you had any big like trials with this business?
with this business, learning RVs. I mean, that's a big thing because they're wired differently. You have different electrical. There's so many things to take into consideration. Weight is always an issue. Weight have to be at the forefront of all my designs because, of course, you can't, put 1 million pounds of furniture and pull it down the road.
Mm,
So, there's a lot of small spaces are actually harder to design than bigger spaces. You have to make them feel spacious. You have to keep into consideration storage space. There's a lot of things about tiny living that make it a little bit more difficult than designing a home. So yeah, there's been every single rig that I do, there's learning curves. But it's kind of nice because I'm at the point now where I've done so many, I can a little bit sit back and relax because I kind of know how it goes. But yeah,
yeah.
it's always learning. I wouldn't say that there's one huge thing that's hard. It's just a constant
Yeah.
learning. Yeah.
I mean, do you change the tires on your own?
I don't. So I actually, funny story, I don't own a truck. I do not pull any of these. I actually luckily, I have a neighbor who owns a tire company. and they're a
Nice.
really sweet family. Yeah, it's great having them nearby. So he actually transports my rigs for me to my house, and then he changes all my tires for me. It's
Oh my
perfect.
gosh, that is so great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So I have him for help on the tires and stuff, and then like moving out furniture and bringing it in. My husband will help me with that because that's tricky. But yeah, if I can lift it, I try to do it myself.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, and now you've got a 9-year-old too.
Yeah. Working on those muscles.
Of course, he might be binging high school now, so he might
That's
be too
right.
busy.
I can't interrupt that.
Oh my gosh. But I was just curious if there were any issues starting out. So you started in 2021.
That's right. Yeah.
How did you find customers for this?
My business blew up way more than I was expecting it to. I am not a social media whiz. I'm not great at it's just a different time. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty decent at marketing, but like as opposed to even 10 years ago, everything's on social media now. So I got lucky, and I think the designs really spoke for themselves because it wasn't me. On my first one, Apartment Therapy noticed me and did a whole entire article about me. On my second one, Insider Travel did a whole article on me. 𝗚ncity did a whole article on me. My mother-in-law actually called my husband and said that she opened up her computer and I was on Yahoo News, an article about me. So that's just sheer luck. I'm really appreciative for things like that, for getting
Yeah.
noticed. But yeah, the following came pretty quickly after. Not that it's huge or anything. I have just under 10,000 right now on Instagram, and that's where I post most of my stuff. But yeah, I think people share things around, and it just gets out there, you know.
Just under 10,000. So
Well, I feel like everyone's so famous these days. You know
right.
what I mean? It has like millions, so I don't know. 10,000 is big to me, but it might not be impressive to other people.
10,000's a
So,
lot.
yeah.
So before we started recording, you guys, Tessa was telling me that she's had a bunch of people in Australia ask her to come and do some renovations of their RVs because RVing is big there as well. And so she's had to turn some stuff down. And that's
Yes.
where she's at. She's so busy that she's turning work down.
especially Australia because of the spiders. It scares me. But
And
yeah, no,
that's
it's
really why she's
cool.
turning them down. It's not
That's
that she's
really
really busy.
that's really
It's because there are spiders.
it's scary, okay? No, but yeah, it's super cool that people from other countries are seeing my work. I mean, I definitely didn't expect that going into it, so it's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean,
Different
maybe,
continents, right? Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're gonna like inspire people to like branch out and do what you're doing elsewhere. Maybe you can train somebody in Australia to take on, to like franchise your business or something.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely at the point right now where I am considering hiring out and moving to that realm because it's a lot of work um to juggle everything. So, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That would be so cool. And just, I mean, and literally this has been 2 years.
Hmm.
2 years. You don't mess around.
Yeah. I dive in there, get it done.
Wow.
I
That
was
is
I was
so
just,
cool.
I was just talking to a girl who wanted her own podcast actually, and we had a Instagram live with each other, and she was like, I'm so nervous about starting a podcast," and I was like, do it like tomorrow, like get everything and just go 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 go, and she was just kind of like, okay, hang on, give me a second. No, but like
Stop pushing me.
I push myself like that, I think, mentally. And so
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes if you do something quicker than you can think about it, it makes it less scary. Yeah.
True. Yeah. I have my sister-in-law in my ear a lot of the time saying, "No, you got to go for it." Like
Do it. Yeah.
the universe is pushing you. It's always the
Yeah.
universe that's what does it for me. The universe is making you uncomfortable until you do it.
Yeah.
Um, she won't be listening, so she won't hear this. But
We'll
uh
just send her that little soundbite.
Yeah, right. But I think that's true. I think that's true. I mean, if you just don't give yourself the chance to talk yourself out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I have this moment, and I don't want to go too off topic, but it was this moment in my childhood where I think was really like pivotal for me. And you know, my parents made lampshades and I was like 5, 6, and I came up to my mom and I was like, I have the best idea ever. It's gonna make you millions. And what you're gonna do is take two totally different pieces of fabric and like super glue them together and put it on the lampshade. And instead of being like, no, that would be hideous, she was like, okay, let's try it. You try it and, you know, do your thing. And I did it and it came out absolutely hideous, of course. And it was, you know, horrible. And she just totally supported me through it. And I really think looking back at it, that taught me that if you try something and it doesn't turn out good, that's not failing, that's learning. So that I think that mindset stuck with me my whole life. And even with the first RV, you know, I could have finished it and it could have came out bad. And really it's not the end of the world. And a lot of times, more times than not, it won't turn out bad, you know? So you have to go through things with that mindset. You can't be afraid. You can't let fear be that foundation or else nothing will work out.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I listened to another podcast and the lady Kathy Heller talks about um 20 seconds of radical courage. Like
Mm-hmm.
just, you know, just use that 20 seconds and go for it. And then, you know, you can't take it back at that point.
That's great advice. Yeah.
So just use that 20 seconds. Um, but 2 years is how long I talked about starting a podcast before I started a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. But think about how many people don't ever get to the 2-year point, you know, and never
Right.
start. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes longer than others and it's worth it.
Right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And so let's see, when you are renovating, what's your favorite part? Is it the furniture? Do you do wallpaper or is it painting or what do you?
I do wallpaper. I do old fashioned wallpaper. So typically I don't use peel and stick in my rigs. I have because of like custom jobs. But yeah, typically I use old fashioned paper. I guess the funnest part, there's usually a week where I have my entire budget and I go shopping. I have to go shopping for everything. You know, I have to design it, the actual designing part.
Sure.
That part's fun. And then the tomboy part of me loves demo week, where I get to rip everything out and I take my trailer. My husband takes it to the dump like 5 times because I fill it with old stuff that, you know, can't be salvaged in there. And yeah, it's all fun. It's all different every week. It seems like, you know, it takes me a couple months to finish them, but then you have the marketing aspect of it. You have the part where people are coming to see them and you're selling them, you're designing them, you're shopping for them. You know, it changes a lot. My job changes, and I like that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
And so you'll do just like you'll buy one and you'll just design it however you feel like doing it, and then but you also do custom for
Yeah,
people.
yeah. So I prefer doing my own designs. It's kind of like flipping a house. I buy them, I own them, I design them, I sell them. Typically with custom renovations, people will bring their rigs to me. Um, I'm kind of at the point in my design career where I don't do designs that are just not me. So if someone comes up and they want like a total like Western style rig, that's not going to be my specialty. I'm not going to be able to give them the quality that I want to. So, you know, I typically my clients like what I do, kind of like my style, and I customize it to them. But yeah,
Mhm.
I do it both ways. So
So if somebody would ask you for a Western theme, would you turn that down or would you say, or
yeah, at
how
this
would that
point,
go?
so like for this year, 2024, I'm booked up for the entire year. I have a small like space in the middle that I might be able to fit something in depending on, but I really can't book it right now because I'm so packed tight with things, with projects. So yeah, usually with things like that, but I do design consulting. So I do help people who want to do all different types of styles, because I am very pro do your own thing. If you love it and everyone else hates it, still do it, because you're the one in the space, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I love helping people make their visions come to light.
Ooh, I like that. And
Yeah.
so okay, so you said this year is booked with, but you said that each rig takes you like 2 months.
It
So you
depends. Yeah, like later on in this year, I'm potentially gonna do a 42-foot fifth wheel. That's gonna take me more like between 2 and 4 months. I mean, they are huge rigs. So those
42
can,
feet?
yeah, and they have a lot of times they have like upstairs loft and things like that. So it depends on what it is. It could take up to 4 months. And then I'll also do touch-up jobs. I've done an RV before that was a Tiffin RV at a it's big, but they only wanted just a touch-up makeover. So no paint, no flooring, stuff like that. And that took me 2 weeks. So it varies on what they want and how big the rig is, but yeah, somewhere in that range. So
Okay. And so when you're consulting, you would help people figure out how to make their dreams reality.
yeah, so my consults, I call them design consults, but really they're more like renovation consultations, because I'm sure I can give you suggestions on like colors and things like that. But one of the big hurdles of me learning how to do these things were just simple questions like, what's the painting process? How do you literally change a light fixture? Simple things like that. I tell people how to do it, and it's very customized to them. So no matter what level they're on, I can help them where they're at and meet them
Mm,
there. And I also provide them like links and things to really useful resources for where I buy my supplies.
awesome. Wow, that's
Yeah,
super helpful.
yeah,
Because I mean it's so niche, the RV um rig thing. It's so
for sure.
different than a home.
Yeah, yeah, and I wish I had someone like that when I was getting
Yeah.
started, because you have a lot of questions, and with me, it was a lot of trial and error and looking stuff up. But it's nice to have that resource just in one spot.
Wow. Yeah. Um Gosh, this is so cool. This is so cool.
It's a
I
fun job.
yeah, oh my gosh. I do have people that follow you and are like, how can I find the furniture that you're looking for? Or like, where do you find your furniture? I want to get some of that. Do you like
Oh yeah,
you give
I
that
I get
information out?
I I get the asset a lot. Um, Yeah, well, I don't get my furniture from any one place, so there's not like one answer. I spend hours and hours. A lot of my job is just researching and finding things from different places. There's been times when I've had something that I knew I had to work into a design, and I kept it for like 6 months, a year, until I had the right place to put it. So, sometimes I buy it on the spot. Sometimes I hold on to things. I look a lot of different places. I love 𝗏𝗏psychology. I love Pottery Barn, and I love using like even Wayfair for furniture at times. It just depends. There's a lot of um, different places. What I'm going to start doing is I'm making ebooks. So once my renovation is done, all the links to everything I used in that renovation will be in one place, and I'm going
Wow.
to sell those. And the reason, not for very much, but I get asked that so much that it would be a full-time job just to respond to people and tell them where I got stuff. So
Totally.
I'm trying to organize that a little bit better.
Oh, that's awesome. Then you don't have to like spend all that time telling them everything or
Exactly.
sending an email. Just be like,
Yeah.
here it
Yeah,
is.
because I mean that's it is a lot of time. I literally get like,
So you
I
do
can't
it
even tell
once.
how many emails. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But I try to be helpful too. So like, if you read my comments on Instagram, you'll see me respond to like everyone and like try to help them out. But
I have,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Which is really cool. I mean, as busy as you are, as popular as you are with 10,000.
10,000.
My goodness.
I didn't get a chance to be popular in high school, so gotta get it now.
You
No,
weren't
I'm
there
kidding.
long enough.
I wasn't there long enough.
I mean,
Still going through
you were
a
doing
foster phase.
school from home anyway.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, wow. Yeah, this must be really cool.
Yeah.
So Tessa, when I see the word sustainability, what does that mean to you?
Well, um, I think it really is being mindful and conscious of our actions and that we're all interconnected. Things we do affect other things. We have to be mindful of that. And I think with sustainability, a lot of people come at it from the like our planet and environment and nature way. Um, but they forget the social aspect of it, that it's going to affect our future generations. What you do now is going to affect your children, your grandchildren. And, you know, with inflation, with how the current state of the world is, people now are struggling to just keep alive. So it's all interconnected, and we're all helping each other. But if we continue to be wasteful, we have to think about what's going to be left for everyone else. So I think really it falls in everyone's lap to be mindful and realize that sustainability is small scale and it's also large scale.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, everyone doesn't have to be living on a, 10-acre farm or,
Exactly.
um, buying the newest electric vehicle, that type
Yeah.
of thing. But we can all be doing whatever we're able to.
Yeah. And I think I started this business too for something else in mind, especially people my age, millennials. I got really lucky finding a house in 2017 when prices hadn't spiked, and I got a fixer upper, so I got a good price. But most people my age are not only not allowed, not being able to afford one house, but much less two homes and start making income from real estate. That's not even in the option. Whereas what I'm creating now are home spaces that are able to rent out to like Airbnb, make an income from, and they're also super affordable. Like the one that I'm working on now that's going to be for sale, it is uh, easily can go for 350, 400 a night on Airbnb if you're in the right location. It's next level. And I'm selling it for 80,000. So it's cheaper than you can get. And that's one of my most expensive ones. I range from 35,000 to that. So it's cheaper than a home, but it still is also a way to make extra income if that's what it wants to be used for.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah,
And it's not 300,000.
and it's not 300,000. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a way nicer.
yeah, for
Wow.
sure.
My goodness. So Tessa, my gosh, this has been amazing. I it's always so fun for me when the conversation just goes so like
Authentically,
way farther than I totally expected. Like
yeah.
I did not, I've done some research, but like 14 years old graduating from high school.
I need to bring that up more if that's so
What?
impressive.
That you just my brain just like quietly exploded. Maybe quietly. I don't know if everyone heard that or not, but I was like, wow, what? Um so if people are completely inspired and like want to see more and want to learn more about this and maybe want to, I don't know, buy a super fancy luxurious rig,
Mhm.
how can they find you or follow you?
So I do social media wise, I update my Instagram most often, which is Alchemy RV Renovations. But I also have a website, same name, alchemyrvrenovations.com. And on the website, I am very up to date about new rigs that I have for sale. So if I have something coming up, I have a newsletter. I have information about my design consultations on there. And then I also have everything I've done before on my website. So you can kind of check that out. And I'm very transparent about my prices. So I notice a lot of people will sell ones and then you'll never see how much it sold for. So all my rigs have how much they sold for. You can get an idea of how much they would cost you in the future and how much a custom one would do. And yeah, so the website and Instagram right now, I'm working on expanding that to more things, hopefully this year. We'll see.
With a social media person because you're
Yeah,
busy.
yeah, with help. With help,
Where's
I'll expand.
what is your 9-year-old up to?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. And so all of this information is going to be in the show notes, you guys. And I definitely encourage you to check her out on Instagram or on the website. And Oh my goodness. And if you're in South Carolina, go visit.
Yeah. Yeah. Come by. Come see
Uh,
it.
but Tessa, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. I learned so much, and I
Yeah.
cannot wait to be in your area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm so excited. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, 100%. So if you guys love this podcast, please feel free to rate it wherever you're listening, or share it with somebody that you think would enjoy that. If you don't love it, please feel free to let me know, because I want to be able to provide value to you. And if you are not getting that, let me know so that I can. And definitely give Miss Tessa a follow, and check her out. And I think that was all that I had to say. But thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today, and checking us out. Tessa, thank you again so much for being here. I hope that everyone
Absolutely.
has an awesome day. And 1, 2.